The Secretary for Labour and Welfare will move two proposed resolutions. First, motion under the Employees Compensation Ordinance, and second, motion under the Pneumoconiosis and Mesothelioma Compensation Ordinance. Members have been informed that as two motions seek to increase the maximum daily rates of medical expenses reimbursable under the above ordinances, this Council will proceed to a joint debate on the two motions. Then they will be voted on one by one. The joint debate now begins. Members who wish to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. I now call upon the Secretary to move the two motions and speak. Secretary. President, I move that the first resolution, as printed on the agenda, be passed to adjust the maximum daily rates of medical expenses reimbursable under the Employees Compensation Ordinance. I will also shortly move the second resolution, as printed on the agenda, be passed to adjust the maximum daily rates of medical expenses reimbursable under the Pneumoconiosis and Mesothelioma Compensation Ordinance, or the PMCO. 1. Proposed resolution under Section 48A of the ECO. This resolution proposes to adjust the maximum daily rates of medical expenses reimbursable under the ECO. Under ECO, an injured employee or a prescribed occupational disease sufferer who has received medical treatment in respect of a work injury or a prescribed occupational disease may claim reimbursement of the actual amount of medical expenses incurred, subject to the maximum daily rate specified in the ordinance. According to the established mechanism, the maximum rates of medical expenses under the ECO and PMCO are linked to public health care service fees and charges. Currently, the maximum daily rate for inpatient treatment and outpatient treatment are both set at $300 per day, respectively, whereas the maximum daily rate for inpatient and outpatient treatment received on the same day is set at $370 per day. Pursuant to the new fees and charges for public healthcare services effective on the 1st of January 2026, the government proposes, in accordance with the established mechanism, to correspondingly increase the maximum daily rate for outpatient treatment from $300 to $500, and that for inpatient and outpatient treatment received on the same day from $307 to $700, while maintaining the maximum daily rate of medical expenses for inpatient treatment under the ECO at $300. 2. Proposed resolution under Section 40 of the PMCO. President, I will now address the proposed adjustment of the maximum daily rates of medical expenses reimbursable under PMCO. Under the PMCO, a pneumoconiosis and/or mesothelioma sufferer who has received medical treatment in respect of the above diseases may claim reimbursement of the actual amount of medical expenses incurred, subject to the maximum daily rate specified in the ordinance. Pursuant to the new fees and charges for public health care services, the government proposes, in accordance with the established mechanism, to correspondingly increase the maximum daily rate for outpatient treatment from $300 to $500, and that for inpatient and outpatient treatment received on the same day from $370 to $700, while maintaining the maximum daily rate of medical expenses for inpatient treatment under the PMCO at $300. The Pneumoconiosis Compensation Fund Board and the Labour Advisory Board have supported the above proposal. The Electoral Panel on Manpower has also expressed support. The government proposes the revised maximum daily rates of medical expenses to take effect on the 1st of January 2026. I hope that members will support and pass the two resolutions so as to enable the injured employees and prescribed occupational disease sufferers to receive enhanced protection on medical expenses as early as possible. Thank you.
I now propose the question to you that the Secretary's first motion be passed. Mr. Lam Chun Sing. Thank you. Deputy President, next year the public healthcare services will be adjusted, and in light of that, the government has proposed to raise the maximum daily rate under the ECO and the PMCO. It is believed that the amendment will provide more protection to workers in general. Now, in terms of labor insurance, this adjustment of medical fees will have minimal impact, but for the high-risk occupations such as those in the construction industry or those working at height, and also employees who are age 65 or above, they are more prone to work injuries, and they may therefore need to pay more for medical expenses. So I'm concerned whether, as a result, the labor insurance for these employees may go up, and employers, as a result, may risk not to take out labor insurance for them at all, or to make them become self-employed persons. The government should pay attention to this issue. One of the amendment items is about outpatient treatment and medical fees. Starting from next year, for a 4-week prescription, the fees will go up to $20 per drug. Now, on each consultation, a patient would get 5 drugs on average. And for a 16-week dosage, the total fees will go beyond the maximum rate, and that means workers will need to pay up out of their own pockets. As for the adjustment of outpatient fees to $500, the fees for physiotherapy and occupational therapies are also included. Now, does it mean that for outpatient treatment on the same day, together with PT service, the total amount may exceed the maximum daily rate, and that again means that the employee would need to fork out money. Now, with the prevalence of Chinese medicine nowadays, and also commissioning of the CMMHK, some employees may turn to Chinese medicine for sprains and other issues. I hope that the CM fees may also be included as an assessment item. In the long run, the government should make reference to the private healthcare charges, because some employees may turn to private practitioners because of the long waiting time in public hospitals. The Health Bureau earlier indicated that legislation will be put in place to compel private healthcare institutions to announce their fees and charges, and that a bill will be tabled next year. And by then, the government will be able to get hold of more information about private healthcare charges. In the future, the government may consider adjusting the fees and may consider making reference to private healthcare charges so as to provide more protection to employees in general. Mr. Guo. I speak on behalf of the FTU, and I support the Secretary's 2 proposed resolution. Pneumoconiosis is a statutory disease, occupational disease. Now, this is prevalent among stonemasons and those working in enclosed space, underground, and decoration workers. Mesothelioma, on the other hand, relates to asbestos. Be it pneumoconiosis or mesothelioma, these are incurable diseases. These diseases would cause direct deterioration of the functions of the lungs of the patients. The patients may suffer from long-term pain, and these are not curable. So again, I urge all workers to take precautionary measures. Wear a mask when you work, if you have to work for a few hours. Get equipped so that you won't suffer from chronic pain in the future. Employers should provide the necessary equipment. one should always have regard and give priority to one's health. The government earlier announced a public health care fees adjustment, and according to the existing mechanism, the maximum daily rates under the two ordinances are pegged to the public health care charges. As a result, resolutions are proposed to adjust the maximum daily rates. The FTU supports the adjustments in line with the government's policy. For employees suffering from the specified occupational diseases, the ordinances offer basic protection. However, the FTU wishes to point out that the maximum daily rates stipulated in the two pieces of legislation are still on the low side. They offer only the basic protection for those in need in the public healthcare system. There may not be a sufficient amount to cope with a more targeted treatment option. For those suffering from mesothelioma, they may be weak in general and they may not be able to withstand the long waiting time in the public queue. And instead, they may opt for treatment or rehabilitation services provided by private healthcare institutions. But their choices are limited because of the high fees. Now, there is a charitable fund that offers help to those in need. However, because of the expensive medical bills for examination and treatment in the private sector, workers may not receive the full support they need. The FTU's suggestion is that with higher transparency in the private healthcare fees and charges in the future, the mechanism should be reviewed. Apart from making reference to public healthcare fees and charges, the government should also make reference to the private healthcare fees and charges to provide additional options to employees. The other point is that the PMC fund's balance stands at 3.5 billion every year. So there is surplus. There is room to expand the scheme of lung examination. Now the age limit is now set at 35 years. We hope that the age limit can be lowered to 25 so that those who have just joined the industry will also enjoy an annual examination. My third suggestion is to include more treatment options, including new ones such as immunotherapy, in the scheme so as to benefit more patients and increase the survival rate. Mr. Edward Lau. Deputy President, I speak in support of the proposed resolutions, and I speak on behalf of the DAB. We are concerned about the new fees and charges to be introduced in the public healthcare services next year. We have collected views in the community, and today we are discussing the amounts of compensation under the ECO and PMCO. These amounts will be adjusted. The DAB welcomes the adjustment. We support them. We believe the adjustments will help needy patients receive the reimbursable medical. Compensation for medical expenses reimbursable after the healthcare reform. Now, we're concerned whether the public's concerns are allayed, and especially after the healthcare reform begins in the 1st of January. The compensation under the two pieces of legislation can be kept abreast with the adjustment. We support the proposed resolution, but I do hope that the Secretary for Labor and Welfare can bring our views and concerns to the Health Bureau so that the bureaus can be more proactive in explaining the new policies to the public to allay concerns. I so submit.
Does any other member wish to speak? If not, I now call upon the Secretary for Labor and Welfare to reply. Then the debate will come to a close. Secretary. President, I thank the three members for speaking on the proposed resolutions. They offered some very valuable views. I have to stress here that the government is very concerned about the protection of employees injured at work and those suffering from the prescribed occupational diseases. Under the established mechanism, the maximum daily rate of medical expenses reimbursable under the ECO and the PMCO are linked to public healthcare service fees. And this is in line with the new public healthcare service fees effective from next year. The government has to make sure that the employees injured can get the appropriate protection. We will carefully consider the views offered by members today. Here, I'd like to ask members again to support and pass these two proposed resolutions so that we can allow employees injured at work and those suffering from the occupational diseases can get the right protection. We now vote on the Secretary's first motion. I put the question to you that the Secretary's first motion be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed. Secretary, you may move your second motion. President, I move that my second motion, as printed on the agenda, be passed. I propose the question to you that the Secretary's second motion be passed. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by majority of the members present. I declare the motion passed.